I am Steve Smith Sr., and on my new podcast, Cut to It, we're talking to your favorite athletes.
The New Orleans Saints, Malcolm Jenkins.
How long did it take for you to take that first step to talk to a therapist?
My body felt like it was in fight or flight, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
iHeartRadio's #1 for podcasts, but don't take our word for it. Find Cut to It featuring Steve Smith Sr. on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar.
This is Steven Jackson, co-host of the podcast All the Smoke, a production of The Black Effect and iHeartMedia in partnership with Showtime. Each week, my brother Matt Barnes and I, 2 NBA champions, sit down with the biggest names in sports and culture to have uncut and raw conversations. No BS questions, no BS answers. We get right to it with each and every guest. So join Matt and I every week for All the Smoke to hear interviews you won't get anywhere else. Subscribe on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Presented by Pepsi, Zero Sugar.
Thanks for listening to the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon podcast. Be sure to catch us live every weeknight, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, 7 to 11 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. Find your local station for the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon at foxsportsradio.com or stream us live every night on the iHeartRadio app by searching FSR.
Now let's get this party started.
You're listening to Fox Sports Radio.
Fox Sports Radio, the Jason Smith Show with my best friend Mike Harmon.
Oh!
Going to head out to Vegas coming up in a couple minutes with Fox Bet Live's Todd Furman. But,
Yay.
you know, think about Jay Glazer coming on. This is the first time, Mike, we've really heard, hey, maybe the draft class isn't as good as we think it is. Because so far we've been pushed with, hey, teams are going to get great playmakers, you know, picking 8th, 9th, and 10th, where normally these guys aren't going to be there. But because the first 4 picks are going to be quarterbacks, you know, the draft is really going to start at 5, you know, and that's where it's going to be. And, hey, look, some guy's going to be available. It's not there. And you heard Jay say, listen, there's only 2 surefire guys, and it's Trevor Lawrence and Kyle Pitts, and teams want to trade out. Well, we already know the Falcons want to trade out of 4, right? That was not a big deal. The Giants and Dave Gettleman said, we'd love to trade out. Right? Yeah, okay, Dave Gettleman, who never trades down. Oh, we'd love to trade out. Yeah. And then we find out today that the Lions want to trade out of number 7, and the Panthers want to trade out as well. So you are now talking about 4 teams in the top 11 who want to trade out, starting with the 4 pick through the 11 pick. If you want to move up for a guy, this is your chance. This is where the Patriots say, hey, we're moving up for Trey Lance. We're going to move up for our quarterback or Justin Fields because we can do it, because many teams want to move out. That means that the cost of moving out isn't going to be that great, and you got 4 teams in the top 11 who already want to move out, and you had the Ravens who decided we're going to trade 4 picks away. We're going to get 4 picks from the Chiefs. The Chiefs were okay trading away 4 picks to get Orlando Brown today. So if you're telling me if you think this is not true, just look at the events of the last 24 hours where all the teams saying they want to move out and the Chiefs saying we're okay giving up 4 draft picks for an offensive lineman. Teams want to move out. You can move up if you want to get your guy. If you don't move up, it's your own fault, because there's so many places you can move up to get the player you want.
No, I dig it. It's going to make for a fun and exciting day one for sure. And then as we get deeper into the draft, then all hell breaks loose. And you never know in terms of fit and occupation. But all the names that we watched on the national stage, and what's interesting in talking to Jay, he brought it up and broached the topic. But I think it's a larger discussion point, because we heard there were some pretty good battles in the Las Vegas Raiders room. What do you do with the guys that opted out this last year? Yeah. Right, that missed a year of football, no matter what the tape said the year before, and we'll see that tested early with Micah Parsons and a couple others. But you had guys that are Slater from Northwestern, Moore from Purdue. I mean, you got guys that are projected to be pretty high. The first 2 more so than more, but the fact that on your draft board, you're also saying, well, that was a year they didn't play football. What do we do? It's part of the Trey Lance discussion, right, in terms of only being able to play 1 game. So, yeah, a lot to go, a lot of chaos, and we'll be here for all of it. I can't wait.
With us now on the hotline, you can follow him on Twitter at Todd Furman. That is at Todd Furman. He is the lead actor on Fox Sports 1's Fox Bet Live Monday through Friday. Todd, what's happening, bud?
Not a whole heck of a lot, gentlemen. How are you guys this fine Friday?
Hey,
well,
buddy.
listen, we're trying to figure stuff out with the draft. Jay Glazer was great for us talking about teams moving down. I ask you, in Vegas here, at what pick do you say, ooh, this is where things could go sideways? Like at what pick overall on the first where you go, ooh, this is where I'm even though this could be the guy here, this is where things are going a different direction?
I think the draft starts with the third overall pick, to be quite honest. Now, I know there's obviously speculation that Mac Jones will be the guy, and that's who I actually believe the 49ers will end up tabbing as the future heir apparent, whatever you want to call it, in their franchise. I think the first two picks we know are going to be Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. I'm not buying some of the stories that circulated earlier that the Jets could be exploring other options. If Mac goes off the board at number 3, I think that's where you see a lot of teams that are trying to find that franchise quarterback begin to scramble, because whether they want Justin Fields, whether they want Trey Lance, or something else in a different direction, all of a sudden Atlanta holds the keys to the castle. You have to think that the Falcons would take Kyle Pitts if they're there, but if someone wants to overwhelm them with an offer, I think you have to entertain it coming from everybody, whether it's the Patriots, whether it's the Lions, whether it's any team you could possibly think of. I think the draft starts with pick number 3.
Todd, this past week, right, obviously we got the first taste of over-unders for the new year and handicapping, and in a couple of cases you got to just put a big question mark as to who's the signal caller. How much action do we see come in on those once those are released?
You won't see a whole heck of a lot right now on win totals. Professional bettors are not going to take substantial positions on any of these numbers until they know exactly how the 17 weeks will shape up. Folks that tell you, hey, look, you can make an informed choice just based on the 17 opponents are kidding themselves, because you don't know where those 3 road games in a row will come in. You don't know where that bye week will be. We don't know the primetime game, short weeks, you name it. You need to have all of those variables factored into the equation before you're going to make a substantial wager on any of these. And most of the time, these are used primarily as discussion points and it'll cater to a little bit more of a recreational customer than it will the true professional, unless something is completely and utterly out of whack. And when I say that, I mean by 1.5 to 2 games, which is rare in this day and age.
All right, Todd, when it comes to MVP in the NBA, it's been the debate the last few days here, whether it's Steph Curry, which it's not, or
you've been called an idiot
Embiid,
a lot this week, too. You got to tell Todd that.
Yeah, today ends in a Y also. As far as Vegas goes, Todd, is it still Jokic at the top? We're going to see some movement. Where are you on this?
Jokic, I think, has this award wrapped up. I mean, you look at his numbers tonight. They didn't exactly blow you away when the Denver Nuggets get blown out by the Golden State Warriors. But his total body of work, I think, far surpasses anybody else out there. I know Joel Embiid's numbers right around 3.5 to 1 at FanDuel. But when you look at the amount of minutes that these two players have logged, I mean, you can't ignore that Nikola Jokic's durability is far and away superior to some of his compatriots in this race. And what you've seen is Steph Curry go from upwards of 100 to 1, now in that 12 to 1 range. Steph is a great story. In my opinion, you can't win the award when your team is fighting for 7th to 10th place, even if you are the most valuable to any individual franchise out there. And you look at some of the long shots, whether you believe in Giannis at 22 to 1, James Harden has kind of fallen off the board at 49 to 1. At this point, I would be shocked if it wasn't Jokic, and I think it's actually a little bit of a bargain at minus $4.
Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon here, Fox Sports Radio. On the hotline with us, Fox Bet Live, one of the featured analysts there. He wears the crown seemingly on a weekly basis, so check that out. And also the Bet the Board podcast at Bet the Board Pod. At Todd Furman on Twitter is where you find him, coming to us live from Las Vegas right now. And so for the NBA night to night, because of the injuries, how much do we see a swing on a game-to-game basis based on what we've seen the last few weeks with stars going down, right? Ben Simmons, 50% or 50-50 is what Doc Rivers says is availability for Saturday. What does that do for those that are looking to invest day-to-day?
It's pretty pronounced, and it's part of the reason that most sports books have elected to keep most NBA lines off the board when it comes to overnight wagering, unless they know teams are going to have their full complement of players available. So if you look at the board for tomorrow, right now there are 4 games with no numbers, and that would include the 76ers-Bucks showcase game in the afternoon, a matchup that no one cares about in the Pacers and Pistons, Lakers and Mavericks, as we await to see what Anthony Davis will look like out there, and if we'll see Kristaps Porzingis, and of course the nightcap with the Rockets and Denver Nuggets. So you get a wait-and-see approach approach in a lot of these games. Unfortunately, it slows down some of the early momentum from a wagering standpoint. But when the dust settles, people are going to look to get their NBA fix, and whether it's betting it 3 hours before the game or 3 minutes, they're going to find a way to get their straight bets and parlays in.
Be sure to catch live editions of The Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon weekdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific.
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change, like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir?
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Tickets are on sale now through AXS.com for our 2021 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Live music is back September 17th and 18th in Las Vegas. The biggest artists in music come together for one weekend with performances you've never seen before and will never see again. Billie Eilish, Cheap Trick, Coldplay, Dua Lipa, Florida Georgia Line, Just Addict, J. Cole, Journey, Khalid, Lil Baby, Maroon 5, Nelly, Sam Hunt, Weezer, a special guest performance by Phineas, and more.
From T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival is the ultimate once-in-a-lifetime experience. Get tickets now while you still can through AXS.com.
All right, lastly, Todd, I want to take umbrage with a tweet that you put out here that I need you to explain this for me. You ready?
Taking umbrage, wow.
Yes, I'm taking Dolores umbrage with this tweet here. You responded to a tweet that asked, who's the greatest fictional athlete of all time? And your response was Johnny Utah, who wrecked his knee in the Rose Bowl and never had an NFL career. How is he the greatest fictional athlete of all time?
I mean, the reality of it is you never saw a highlight to prove he's not the greatest fictional athlete of all time. And the kind of highlight reel you saw him put up before he wrecked that knee. You've seen Shane Falco. You've seen all of the players in the program, including Alvin Mack, amongst others. So I think Johnny Utah, because we don't know how good he could have been in terms of getting to the next level had he not wrecked his knee, would have gone down as the best fictional quarterback and athlete of all time, because we've seen everybody else, and quite frankly, I wasn't that impressed what I saw out of Jesus Shuttlesworth.
No, stop with that. No. That's hot take nonsense. Did you see what Vontae Mack did to Bo Callahan? I mean, you watched him just wreck him the entire game, and the only time Bo Callahan threw the ball well and Vontae Mack was off the field.
Well, that's what happens. Every now and again, you have to wait for stars that are wreaking havoc in the backfield to be out of the mix, and that's when you can make big plays in all of those games that are out there.
And not Roy Hobbs, who had about 60 home runs in about 40 games with the Knights. Not
struck out the whammer.
Here's the reason that I can't take Roy Hobbs. I've read the book, and the book doesn't end the same way as the movie does. So there is a massive disconnect between book and the cinematic representation. Honestly, I would have been much more comfortable, Smith, if you put the dynamic duo that owned the street courts in Billy Hoyle and Sidney Dean, then I would have accepted that as a suitable answer. But if you're going to throw out Roy Hobbs, this conversation was over before it started.
Wow,
Sidney
look at you.
Dean.
Suddenly,
boom.
Sidney Dean. I owe you and I owe him. All right. You can follow him on
I'll go
Twitter.
get my other gun. What?
At Todd Furman. You take that mask off, Marcus. He's on Twitter at Todd Furman. That is at Todd Furman, lead actor on Fox Sports 1's Fox Bet Live, Monday through Friday on FS1. Todd, as always, buddy, appreciate it, my friend. Take it easy.
Always a pleasure, gents. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, buddy.
I can't buy Johnny Utah. I can't buy Johnny Utah.
I like it, though.
He had no pro career.
Yeah, but it gets us into a great debate.
We saw him play once on the beach against Patrick Swayze, and the game ended when there was a hard tackle. I mean, come on, I can't go Johnny Utah.
I mean, could it have been Cruz and his man Goose when they were playing some beach volleyball?
Oh no! They were in jeans. You can't tell me you're no. When you're wearing
degree
jeans,
of difficulties.
No. You can't wear jeans and play beach volleyball. You can't do it. I can't go for you there. You got Rocky Balboa. I mean, really, Rocky Balboa. How many times was he a champion? 3 times? 4 times? Really, Jimmy Chitwood? I mean, look at what these guys all did. These guys all achieved.
Jimmy Chitwood, come on now.
Apollo Creed. I mean, Apollo Creed was champion.
Look, he had a good run until he didn't. Then he didn't take his opponent seriously.
You don't stop this fight no matter what.
Throw the damn towel.
No matter what. Oh, by the way, probably the best post-game interview of all time. In
no
sports.
question.
Can you imagine if there's a fight and a guy could be dying in the ring, and you ask the guy, hey, how do you feel about this? As you're doing an interview 5 feet from a guy who was dying and spasming on the ground, and you just say, if he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies.
I mean, can you imagine a guy giving an interview and saying that? I mean, really?
He'd be a hero to some.
Who? No, he wouldn't be. Are you kidding? Really? Who would be? No, he wouldn't be.
I didn't say a lot. I said some.
It's not right at all. That's a bad.
Am I wrong? You think I'm wrong?
No,
Tight shirt, lead to lap. Am I wrong that there'd be some folks that would think that was a great moment?
Oh yeah, just open up Twitter. You'd know right away.
Okay, because 100 people tweet, "Hey, isn't that cool?" And there's a million people that are like, "Oh my God, I really need to get on
Twitter's
social media
not the world, though. If you want to extrapolate to the population, that's a lot of people.
No, listen, I subscribe to the Jim Boeheim philosophy of what a big deal is. Okay, and he was asked when they moved the AC tournament, they were playing it in Greensboro. Right, and because they were talked about playing it in Madison Square Garden a few years ago, they said no, we're going to play it in Greensboro. And he said, and they said, well, there's an overwhelming support to keep it in Greensboro. Jim, how do you feel about that? He goes, that's a load. He goes, we're having it here because there's 150 people who have meetings. That's why we're having it here. And it's 150 people that walk around making you think there's a lot of people that want to have it here. Just because like 10 people on social media go crazy about it doesn't mean it's something that's nuts. Just because somebody burns one jersey on social media doesn't mean that it's an epidemic and people are burning jerseys.
It does become a national story every time, though, doesn't it?
But it doesn't mean everybody's doing it.
I'm not saying it does, but if it gets the attention.
No, it's not. No. I mean, you're talking about the attention. This is like the attention that Johnny Utah got for his career. They barely recognized him how can he be a great athlete when they barely recognize him and they're playing football on the beach with him? He can't be that great. I don't think Anthony Kiedis recognized him.
Hello.
He said, and he's going to throw an interception. He will, TJ, give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now.
Be sure to catch live editions of The Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon weekdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio and the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, I'm Doug Gottlieb. The podcast is called All Ball. We usually talk all basketball all the time, but it's more about the stories about what made these people love their sport and all the interesting interactions along the way. We talk to coaches. We talk to players. We tell you stories. You download it. You listen to it. I think you'll like it. Listen to All Ball with Doug Gottlieb on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Truth Hounds is a new investigative podcast. One like you've never seen before.
Well, one like you've never heard before.
Comedians and real-life friends Anna Saragina and Kyle Mazzono hold a humongous magnifying glass to life's smallest mysteries.
Well, the magnifying glass is special ordered, and it's gonna get delivered any day now. Customer service assures them.
Anyway, these mysteries are really small.
Why don't I have more followers on Instagram? Why is my neighbor always mean to me? Why do I look so bad in a hat?
Anna and Kyle will go to any lengths to sniff out the truth. There will be laughs.
Ha, 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 ha.
There will be tears.
Why? Why?
And there will be mysteries.
What is that right over there? Is that a ball or a guy's head?
They're going to find out.
Sniff, sniff.
Join Anna and Kyle every Tuesday for new episodes.
Listen to Truth Hounds on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Paper Ghost returns with an investigation into a tragedy that took place deep in America's heartland in a tucked-away Ohio town where a massive farmhouse belonging to a wealthy family erupted in flames.
The flames are everywhere.
All 4 residents inside were dead, and not a single person died from the flames or smoke. So the question becomes, what killed them? Or, more importantly, who?
My brother says, Carol, something's up. There is too much blood.
This season, I'm not chasing a missing persons flyer. I'm chasing a wanted poster.
That's how the mob works, say, don't leave anybody.
I didn't want nobody to know what
what I was doing, because if they did, I wouldn't have lived till next day.
Listen to Paper Ghosts on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Murder in Illinois is the new iHeartRadio podcast from the producers behind Happy Face and Murder in Oregon.
You don't really need to see the crime scene photos to have your heart broken.
What started as a family road trip ended as a massacre.
Murdered children, and murdered mother.
3 children were murdered by the last person they ever thought would harm them.
My best friend lost her life and is not here to tell the truth.
He said, they just arrested Chris. And her first words were, but he didn't do it.
Did the person convicted of 4 murders actually pull the trigger?
None of their theories of how this happened fit the crime scene evidence.
I'm Lauren Bright Pacheco. Join me for Murder in Illinois, Who Killed the Vaughn Family.
So crazy. This is all so crazy.
Listen and follow on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Fox Sports Radio, the Jason Smith Show with my best friend Mike Harmon. And tonight, more Padres-Dodgers, more drama. Every night's a playoff game. Second series of the year. The Padres beat the Dodgers 6-1 on the 22nd anniversary of his father hitting 2 grand slams against the Dodgers. Fernando Tatis Jr. goes deep twice as they win this game 6-1. And here's how old I feel, okay? So it was 22 years ago tonight. Tatis's dad hit 2 grand slams in the 3rd inning off of Chan Ho Park. Now, this tells me how old I am. At the time, Fernando Tatis Jr. was 3.5 months old. I remember working that night at KABC in Los Angeles. Tatis hits both of these home runs, and I remember thinking, how the hell does Chan Ho Park stay in the game long enough to give up 2 grand slams in a game?
Well, you got to go back and start looking at, all right, how badly used were other pitchers the last, 3 to 4 nights, and what was on the schedule coming, and like, what the hell?
I mean, how do you stay in the game long enough to give up 2 grand slams?
And on the second one, is it more all right, I'm still in here, I'm now pissed at my manager, and I'm just going to throw it over the plate? Just hit it a ton. Go ahead.
Like Patrick
I don't
Waugh
even care anymore.
They allowed him to give up like 10 goals, and he just said, hey, whatever, I'm coming out. Chan Ho Park went 2 2/3 of an inning, giving up 8 hits and 11 runs in that one, 6 of them earned, and 2 home runs. St. Louis scored 11 runs in the top of the 3rd inning to win that game. 11, and they left him in there to do that.
Yeah, that's like a special kind of hate from your manager that drifts in. But tonight, I mean, we get the heroics of Fernando Tatis Jr. This was the game for the year that everybody had been waiting for from him as he launches 2 home runs off Clayton Kershaw. Tape shop measures. Steve had the exit velocity that we love so much. One of them was over 116 miles an hour. But, to no one's surprise, they went and they had to research it, have a father-son combination ever both hit 2 home runs in a game at the same park on the same day. I thought it was pretty safe to say the researcher just took another sip of whatever he was drinking and didn't bother to do any of those searches.
That's like a Ross Porter stat. The last time a team had 2 home runs in the same inning was the same dad and the same kid at the same time with the same team against the same team in the same game in the same bottom half of the inning. Got to go back to 1955 when the Cardinals did it against. That's a Ross Porter stat right there.
I do love the fact that Tatis Jr. in the postgame is like, oh yeah, this is the rivalry everybody cares about. This is all anybody's watching. This is all anybody's talking about. It's exciting. So, all bought in, and now that they've won the first 2 games here, well, suddenly the little brother syndrome that Dodger fans and noted local talkers, they might have to back off some of their stances to recognize this team's not at full strength, and they're pretty bleeping good too.
Well, here's the big thing. I'm going to play devil's advocate for you here, because we talked about how the Padres have kind of underachieved so far, and they have. Look, they're a couple games over 500. But just think about this for a second, okay, before you think, the Dodgers, they still have it over. The Padres have already played series. Now, this is their second series against the Dodgers. They've played Milwaukee, and they've played the Giants. Those are the teams with the 3 best records in the National League, and they've already played them. So they got a lot of games against teams that aren't playing as well coming up. Watch out. Watch out for the Padres being on a run. Tatis heating up. Watch out for that now. They're already 2 games up here. Snell and Bauer tomorrow is going to be an incredibly mammoth game already here in April. Watch out, man. That's a big one tomorrow.
So much fun. What a week.
Twitter at How About a Fresca. Mike at Swollen Dome. Our Best of podcast goes up in a few minutes. Listen to it on iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. Jonas Knox is next. DeGrom!
The only thing better than grinding all night for your side hustle is your roommate picking you up with Mickey D's breakfast. The perfect pickup deal.
There's a deal for every morning at McDonald's.
Right now, taste breakfast perfection when you get a warm and savory sausage McMuffin with egg for just $2.50. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with combo meal.
The Truth Hounds is a new investigative podcast. One like you've never seen before.
Well, one like you've never heard before.
Comedians and real-life friends Anna Saragina
and Kyle Mazzono
hold a humongous magnifying glass to life's smallest mysteries. There will be laughs, ha ha ha. There will be tears, why? And there will be mysteries. What is that right over there? Oh, it's my missing sock.
iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, but don't take our word for it. Find Truth Hounds on the iHeartRadio app
or wherever you get your podcasts.